Hi! Today we're going to be doing something a little different than our past lessons. So this one is not aimed so much towards beginners as somebody who's just looking for some new tools in their tool belt. They've been playing a little bit. And if you're a beginner, you can still follow along and pick up, but I'm not going to go at quite as slow of a pace. And what we're working on today is movable chord shapes. And a lot of people know they're movable bar chords, but we're not going to be dealing with bar chords. We're going to be doing other movable shapes that you don't see quite as often. So we're going to start with what I call a movable C chord shape. So let's start by just playing our stock cowboy C chord here. So normally we play that 3rd fret with the ring finger, middle finger 2nd fret, skip a string, and pointer finger on 1st fret. What we're going to do is we're going to change that up and we're going to use our pinky for the 3rd fret, our ring finger 2nd fret, and then we're going to use our middle finger on the 1st fret. So play your C chord using those fingers. Now, over your top 3 strings, or you can bar all over it, just kind of lightly set your pointer finger where the nut is and pretend you're fretting where the nut is. And that is the heart of what this shape is. So now if we take this whole thing and we move it up to the 5th fret, and then we put our pointer finger where it's barring those 3 treble strings on the D, or not D, the G, B, and high E, we now have a D chord that's 5th fret, 4th fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 2nd fret. And if you listen to your cowboy D chord versus your movable C chord shape version of the D chord, notice there's a little bit more low end fullness because you've got a little bit more beef in what you're playing in the low end. Another great thing for this movable chord shape is if you take this movable C shape up to the 6th fret, you now have that elusive E flat chord. If you've ever looked at chord charts for piano music or stuff written for brass band, you often see E flat and you're like, I hate that chord. Well, here's another way to play that E flat. And another nice thing about this chord shape is if you want to do a major 7th chord to add a little flavor into a song, just lift that middle finger, so now it's 6, 5, and then everything else is at the 3rd fret. That's how you switch from a major chord to a major 7th. It's just by moving that middle finger. So if we go back to the D at the 5th fret, so you can do the same thing up here at your C chord with your stock C chord. I just lift in your pointer finger. Now you have a C major 7th. Alright, next movable chord shape is what I like to call the movable D chord. So if we look at our cowboy D chord here, let's do the same thing. Let's use different fingers for the D chord. Middle finger on the 2nd fret of the G, pinky 3rd fret of the B, and ring finger 2nd fret of the high E. And then let's just bar across on that nut there. So we can take this. Let's play this where we're barring at the 3rd fret. So it's going to be from the D string. We've got the 3rd fret, and then we have our middle finger 5th fret, pinky 6th, and then the high E 5th fret again with a ring. So we now have another way of playing an F chord right there. Just a whole different feeling. Which is something you don't get if you're doing your bar chord F. Just a whole different feel. Alright, another way we can use this movable D chord shape is to just forget about the D string altogether, and we're just going to use our 3 treble strings. So take that D chord shape, just your regular D chord shape. Let's slide it up to the 9th fret. You now have your 5 chord in the key of D. Move that down to your 7th fret. You now have your 4 chord, and then we go back to our D. So that's an A at the 9th fret. That's a G at the 7th fret. So if you're playing any of those songs that have that D, A, G progression, so here is another movable shape. This one's a good shape, especially for when you're using distortion. This movable shape starts on the D string. So we're going to do an A major chord with this movable shape. And you're just playing the D, G, and B string. So for the A chord, it's 7th, 6th, and 5th fret. 7, 6, 5. So you're just making that angle, and that makes a major chord right there on those 3 strings. So for your 1, 4, 5 on that, you've got your A. And then if we go all the way up where our pointer finger is on the 12th fret and our ring finger is on the 14th fret, you got your 5 chord, and bring that back to where your pointer's on the 10th fret and your ring's on the 12th. There's your 4 chord, and we go back to our 1 chord. Alright, another movable chord shape. This is another major chord shape. So this one, so for that last one I just showed you, your ring finger is on the root note of the chord. This next one, your highest note, this is going to be an inversion, so your highest pitch note is actually going to be the root note for the chord. So we're going to do an E major chord because 5th fret of the B string is an E. But we're going to start with our ring finger on the 6th fret. We're going to put our pointer finger on the 4th fret of the G string, and then 5th fret of the B string with our middle finger. That's your movable chord shape right there. So let's move that down to where our ring finger is on the 4th fret now. And since this right here, our middle finger is on the D, that means we're now playing a D chord. So if we take that movable chord shape I showed you for the A, and we switch to that new movable chord shape, and then we play a cowboy E at, or cowboy A at the end, we've got our chords for Crazy Train. Alright, that is our movable chord shape lesson for the day. I hope you found that insightful. I hope it helps you with your songwriting, or if you're just in a jam and you're playing with other people, you can now play the same chord they're playing but play it completely differently and just add a whole different dimension to what you're doing. Have a great day.